Hey guys, so I figured that today would be fun to do a full face of products that are all like cult classics that have a cult following, or they're called fan favorites, whatever you want to call them. Maybe some people will think that they were just overhyped, over talked about products. Whatever you think of them, I just thought it would be fun to do a video. So these are going to be both drugstore and high-end. I'm going to probably do another video with maybe only drugstore. I figured that would be fun to do. So let's get started. For foundation, I went with the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear. I wanted to pick a foundation that has a huge following and that also that I try and I love, because if the foundation didn't go on right, it was something that I've never tried, then the rest of my face would definitely be a disaster. So I'm gonna have to probably mix in these two shades here. For reference, this is shade 465, and then I'm gonna mix in a little bit of my winter shade, which is 420. And I'm like out of this. It's like squirting, making a mess everywhere. Yeah, this is making a mess. So that one's done. So this is definitely, I would say, my #1 favorite drugstore foundation, and probably in my top 3 favorite foundations of all time, like drugstore, high-end. And what I love about it is the finish is just so natural. It's very satin-like, and it has a lot of really good coverage. Like, I have a lot of hyperpigmentation, and it does such a nice job of just covering it, but not making it look like cakey makeup. So if you're new to makeup or you just want to get a new foundation, definitely, I would say, check this one out. So in the winter, I have very dry skin, but in the summer, I can be like normal to oily, depending, like I'll get a little bit oily in the T-zone. It just works very well for all skin types. And it's never caused like any breakouts or anything like that on my skin. They have a really, really great shade range, which is awesome. And products layer over it like a dream. Like, what else could you ask for? And it does have SPF of 25 in it. I didn't even realize that, but that's awesome. The one thing that I feel like I've seen people complain about with this foundation is it does have a little bit of a scent to it. It's not like a paint scent. It's not like a chemical scent. It's almost like a fresh, like they added fragrance to it. Do I feel like they needed to? Probably not. It doesn't bother me, but like if you are really sensitive, I'll just throw that out there that it definitely has a little bit of a scent to it when you're first putting it on, but it's nothing that like lingers throughout the day or anything like that. This one has a big following, and it's for definite good reason. Like, I can totally see what the hype is about. For concealer, I chose none other than the Tarte Shape Tape. Obviously, everyone has heard of this and really loves it, and I think it's a really great concealer. It is like a little bit more pricey. It's definitely not at a drugstore price point. I put quite a bit on, but that's okay because I am super tired. I have just not been sleeping at night, and it's no one's fault but my own. I'm addicted to McDonald's Diet Coke, like bad. I stopped drinking it for a while, and then I went back to drinking it, and it's just, I guess, too late in the day, and it's just been really keeping me up. And the kids aren't even keeping me up. It's the extra caffeine and probably just stress. But anyway, this concealer is amazing. I definitely put a little bit too much on, but that's okay. And if you're wondering, I use the shade Light Medium, and whatever extra I have on my brush, I'm just kind of going in and like highlighting a little bit down my nose, and I'm gonna go around my mouth just a bit. It just blends so nicely. Right, so for powder, I chose the Laura Mercier because I feel like that's all anyone ever talked about for setting powder for so long. I think this powder is good. Is it like my powder that I have to have all the time? No, there's a drugstore one that I love for that. But I feel like whenever anyone would talk about like baking or anything with like loose powder, it was the Laura Mercier. Everybody talked about it. I'm not a huge fan of loose powders because if you could see my lap right now, it's literally like a freaking powder donut. There is powder everywhere. So because of that, I'm not a huge fan of like a loose powder. I just feel like I don't have the time to deal with that mess. I like a pressed powder that I can just kind of sprinkle on my face and then I'm done. Having to do this whole bit is a little bit excessive for me. But it is a really nice powder. Like, I do like that it is super nice, like it feels like silk under your eyes. As far as like no crepiness, I wouldn't say that's 100% true. I mean, I definitely see a little bit, but I think it's because I use like retinol. So my skin is a little bit like dry under my eyes right now. But do I think you need to spend the money to get this setting powder? No, I think that there's other powders that work just as good, but it's all preference, and every product is obviously subjective depending on the person and their preferences and what they're looking for. But it is really nice. So I would say if you want to try it, get yourself the mini. That's what I have, is like the little travel one. And then you can test it out and you're not spending like the full amount. And another thing, it's like if you don't use all the powder, I feel like there's so much that gets wasted because it's like still stuck in there. So I'm gonna put that aside and then I'll deal with that later, so we can keep rolling. So moving on to bronzer, I chose the Hoola Bronzer. This is a product that I feel like everybody was talking about it forever, still talk about it, Hoola, Hoola, Hoola. And this was one that I tried and I actually love it. It is a really, really good bronzer. It's probably one of my top 3 favorites. And it's like one swipe and you get so much good coverage. If you're wondering, this is just a regular shade, like the original. I'm not sure if that's the medium or not, but I probably went in a little bit heavy-handed, but it just blends so nice. It's like the perfect shade. That's what I love about this. And this is another one where they sell it in the mini size too, I think, but I think that would be a little bit difficult to get your brush in because I feel like this is the regular size. And I like to use like a kabuki brush most of the time to do my bronzer so I can get like a really nice chisel here. So normally I'll use like a brush like this with some of my other bronzers, but I have a hard time fitting it in this pan size, even with this brush. And the packaging is a little bit bulky, but it's no big deal. I think it's a really nice bronzer if you want to spend a little bit more money and get yourself a nice bronzer. And it does last on me. I'll typically wear more high-end makeup if I'm gonna go to like a wedding or somewhere where I need my face to last all night long. I'll use like this bronzer because I know that it's gonna last on me, especially in the summer, like all day long. So funny story. I woke up probably like last week and I noticed there's like a couple of little like gaps in my eyebrow. I don't know if you can see, it's like there. I did pencil them in a little bit. And then there was like a bigger one here and I'm like, what is going on? And I look up close and I thought it was just like sparse. I'm like, why isn't the hair growing back? And then I noticed it was like, it's gray hair and that's why it looked so patchy. So I'm like, what is going on? I have like huge sections in my brows where it's like all gray hair. So I was gonna pull it, but then I said I'll just like leave it and then put a little bit of like brow gel over top of it and you won't notice. Welcome to the next stage of life. So for blush, I have 2 here. I had a hard time deciding, but I think for this video, since I might do another one, like I said before, just all drugstore. So I think I'm gonna go with the NARS Orgasm and then we'll save the Milani one for the next video. So this blush, I remember when it came out, I feel like it was like $19.99 or something. I was definitely in high school and this blush came out and everybody was talking about it. And I remember when I got it for the first time, it was when like the Bobbi Brown blushes were like really in with like the shimmer. And I was so excited to get NARS Orgasm Blush. But it is still such a good blush. I don't know if they've changed the formula. Like I just compared it to one that I had. I had a full size one. I just went with the mini this time because my full size was definitely expired. And I feel like there was like a little bit of a difference with the shade, but that could just be because it's super old, but this is still like such a good blush. There's really nothing like it. I love that you can just put it on and you don't have to use a highlight if you don't want to. It's just so pretty. And let me know down below what all of your cult classic favorites are, and also ones that you just don't understand the hype for them. Like you don't think that they're good at all. Can you guess what I chose for highlight? I feel like this one is so obvious and it's not even in the box. I pulled out like all the products before, but I guess I didn't pull this one out. Surprise, surprise, Champagne Pop. And this is still, I would say, my favorite highlighter of all time. I just love this product. And I did buy a bunch of backups because I know that you're not gonna be able to get it. And I did find a drugstore dupe for this one That's pretty close. I wouldn't say it's like 100%, but it is really close, and it's the Milani Baked Blush. And I have so much dry skin there. Just made it look so much worse, but that's okay. So I guess that's what I'll be buying in the future, since we won't be able to get Becca blushes anymore. So when I think of like eyeshadow palettes that everybody talked about, the first one that came to mind was the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette, but I never got on board with that one. And then like the Urban Decay, of course, the Naked palettes. I did have like 3 of them. I did declutter them a couple years ago because they were just getting old and I wasn't reaching for them as much. But a couple other ones that came to mind were the Kylie Original. This is the Bronze palette. I really like this palette. Like this shade right here is my favorite. I think it's called like Citron. It is so pretty. And then another one is of course the Anastasia Modern Renaissance palette. I feel like everybody has always talked about this one. So it's gonna be a toss up which one I go with. I feel like I'm gonna use the Anastasia one today just because I also wanna talk about the Stila glitters in the shade Kitten Karma. I feel like these are the OG of eye glitters and I wanna do like a look with both of this. So I feel like because of the color, I think I'm gonna go with the Modern Renaissance and put together an eye look. And I'm gonna start with the shade right there, which is Burnt Orange. And I'm gonna just wash that all over the lid and the crease and put that down as my transition. And I forgot, I wanted to prime my eyes with the Urban Decay Potion Primer, and I totally forgot. So I think what I'm gonna do is once I blend this in, I'm just gonna put it on my lid, which is like completely backwards from what I normally do. It's like super sticky. I'm gonna take the shade Red Ochre and get that real tight in the crease. I'm also gonna place it in the outer portion of my eye. And comment down below, let me know which Anastasia palette is your favorite of all time. So now I'm gonna go in with the shade up here called Cypress Umber and just do like a little shadow wing. So let's take the Stila glitter now. And I feel like there's other drugstore options that are pretty good. I loved the ColourPop Supernova shadows or glitters, but they don't make them anymore. I don't know why. And Revlon has a pretty good one that you can get at the drugstore. And then also e.l.f. has good ones that are very similar that you could get at the drugstore. I'm just gonna kind of dot that so that it kind of fades out on the edge. And I don't like the way this wing came out because I was trying to do powder and then it just got like too thick and too smudged. But once I do my mascara, it won't look so bad. But this shade is just so pretty. So I decided I did not like the way that wing was looking at all because it just wasn't blending right. I think it's because I have like a lot of dry skin going on. And it was kind of pulling and it was just looking like really crusty. So I just wanted it off. And now I'm just taking that first shade that I used, which is the Burnt Orange, and I'm just gently blending everything together so that it looks very seamless and then it's a really nice transition and it's not so choppy because I feel like nothing is blending well on this area of my skin because everything is peeling. So now I'm gonna take this Tempera and just use it under my brow bone. So for brows, the Benefit Gimme Brow, I feel like this is the most talked about brow product for like years. This and like the Anastasia regular brow pencil. I do like this product. I feel like you have to be careful because if you go in with a heavy hand, or like if it's the beginning of the tube and you put it on, like you can see right there, it tends to come out very thick and very dark. Whereas a product like, for example, like you can see there's like a little glob there, gets stuck. It's not as forgiving. but it does work really good. It holds my brow hair in place all day. But a product like e.l.f. Wow Brow, I think it's called, I've been using for probably like 6 months now. And it works so good. It works just as good. It's a little bit more forgiving. And my brows don't feel as like crusty as when I used a Wow Brow. But this is definitely good for like filling in all of those sparse hairs. I don't know, what do you think? Do you guys like this product? I don't know, I feel like it kind of gives me like block brow. Do you know what I mean? Like where they're like real harsh. So I wait until it dries a little bit and then I might hit it with like just a stamp of foundation to lighten up that intensity. But we're gonna move on to mascara, and I feel like I picked one that like took over the mascara game at the drugstore for years, and it is still one of my absolute favorite mascaras of all time. And I really like that they have the primer that goes with it. The L'Oreal Lash Paradise. Such a good mascara. I feel like there are some people that didn't like it, but everybody's preferences are different, especially with lashes. I feel like there's so many mascaras that everybody loves that just don't work right for me because everybody needs something different. Some people have longer lashes, some people have shorter lashes, thicker, thinner, darker, lighter, the whole thing. So preferences can definitely be different, but I feel like this is one that everybody really, really, really liked. And I've tried a couple of like really overhyped mascaras. Well, I think that they're overhyped mascaras at the drugstore, like since the Lash Paradise dropped. And I just really haven't found anything that has been as good as this one. But I have a whole video on like my favorite drugstore mascaras. I'll put it up above if you want to check it out. And I've also done some like comparison videos of like dupes. So like drugstore mascaras versus their high-end counterpart, and I'll put that one up above too if you want to check it out. But this gives me length, it separates my lashes, it gives me tons of volume and fullness, and it doesn't feel crunchy. I cannot stand when I put on a mascara and it feels like heavy and like crunchy, and then when you're trying to take it off, it just doesn't come off right. And when you're like, when I'm in the shower, I kind of like use my nail, I know it's gross, and kind of use the water and like pull. And sometimes certain mascaras, they just pull like your whole lash off, and it's awful. This one, I feel like it works really well, it holds really well, but when it's time to take it off, it's no drama and it comes right off. And I use the shade, I think this one is just like the black, whatever the darkest one is, I use that. And I never use a waterproof, because waterproof mascaras, they are just so difficult in my opinion to get off. And I feel like they end up pulling my whole entire lash, my whole hair follicle out, and just pulling my lash out. And it just causes so many problems. But look at this mascara, it is just amazing. I love this. I forgot how much I liked it. I have so many mascaras open right now. I've been trying to rotate and use other ones, so I really haven't reached for this in a really long time, but I forgot how much I like it. So normally I would do eyeliner prior to putting on mascara, but I honestly, like, I feel like I don't wear eyeliner too much lately. I haven't been, and I forgot. But one that I would say is definitely my favorite of all time is the MAC Kohl Liner in the shade Smolder. And this has been around for quite a while, and I feel like there's been a couple of drugstore ones that I have used that I really liked, but I feel like I always come back to this because it is so, so good. It is so dark, it is so creamy, and it lasts all day. And I can't put on eyeliner without tugging on my lower lash line. I just can't do it. I'll stab myself in the eye. It's just not worth it. So that's just like a couple of swipes, and like, look how dark that is. It's like a velvet black. Love it. Really good. There's a reason why it has such high reviews, and there's so many other colors to choose from. So if you want like brown, which is a really nice option, or like a deep green or a blue, they have all of that too. So we have a couple more products that I am super excited about because I've never tried them. I've wanted to try them, and I feel like everybody's talked about them, and it's just something that I've never wanted to spend the money on. So I got this sample size because this way I can test it out, and it's like $25 for the liner and the lipstick, and see if I really like it. And that is the Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk. I got the regular or the original, which is, it doesn't say it on here, but I'm pretty sure it's like the nude pink color. So it comes with the lip liner, which I feel like is a good size. And it comes with the lipstick, which is very small, but like perfect for your purse. And the color looks so pretty. I've wanted to try this for so long and it always looked so good, but I just didn't want to spend the money on it because I have too many lip products. So here we go. Let's see if it's worth all of the hype that it gets. So the liner is going on pretty good. I am like slightly overlining and I do have a slight bit of chapstick on just because my lips have been so dry. And I like the shade because it's very similar to my natural lip color so that this way I can overline a little bit and it's not as noticeable. Very pretty color, like a stunning color. This is like an everyday, your lips but better color. And I think you get a decent amount for $25, like perfect to put in your purse. So let's top it with, and I must have nicked it. Let's top it with the lip color. And I think that they have a few other shades of this. I'm trying to think of like what that smell is. Like what it's similar to. I can't think of it. It's like a vanilla, like a dessert type of smell with the lipstick. Like the formula reminds me of something. I can't think of it. Like what lipstick formula that reminds me of. So on top, I'm gonna go in with the Buxom White Russian, which has a huge cult following. Ooh, this goes on really nice. I like this combination. And I always like to take like a napkin and kind of clean the wand off and get any of the lipstick color, so then that way it's not like changing the color of the tube. But I really like that. That's a really nice combination. And I like how it's like a lot darker kind of on the edges, so it really defines your lips. What do you think? I think it looks good. Watch, you guys are on the other side of the camera like, I don't think it looks good. I feel like my eyebrows look a little heavy. All right, so the last product is the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray. I love this. I buy the big bottle and then I just keep refilling my mini size because it fits better in my storage. And I love this product. This is one that I would definitely buy over and over again. I do buy it over and over again. If you're looking for like a setting spray for a wedding or something, like everybody talks about the all-nighter and it's for a reason. All right, so this is the final look of all the cult classics products with a cult following, fan favorites, overhyped products, whatever you want to call it. I hope you guys like this video. Comment down below and let me know if you want me to do a drugstore version of this with like just all drugstore products. I'd be more than happy to. I feel like that would be a really fun video to film. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Leave me a comment down below if you're new, say hi and subscribe. I do all different types of videos from like beauty to home and lifestyle, cleaning, organization, all that kind of thing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.